So last episode on Buying Broken, we talked about strategies and ways to find broken devices to fix. So what's the next step after obtaining things to fix? The answer is sit and wait for 3 months as you do other projects and procrastinate. So I've waited more than 3 months and now it's time to fix as many of these 10 MacBooks as we can. First I'll start with the out-of-box experience. Oh boy, was it not what I was expecting. Not only did I come home with 2 giant boxes in front of my door, the right MacBooks weren't even in the boxes. Since I actually didn't take any footage of me opening the boxes, here's some overly dramatic footage of me tearing apart a box. You can imagine my surprise when I opened the box, there were actually 2010 MacBooks instead of the 2007 ones I ordered. I was actually super happy about this, because between the 2007 and 2009 and 10 MacBooks, there was a design change that made them look a lot better in my opinion. That wasn't the only unexpected thing though. The MacBooks were also missing a few crucial parts that the seller said would be included. For example, they did not have any RAM or batteries, which were both specified that they did have, and they also, for whatever reason, didn't include the bottom plate screws. So I had to go and order new old stock bottom plate screws for 2010 MacBooks. But enough with explaining what happened, let's actually watch it happen. So the first sorting I did was this pile, which looks fine, might work. This pile, which looks great, probably works. And my personal least favorite, the what the hell pile. This isn't really a pile as it consists of one MacBook, but this MacBook didn't even have a bottom cover that it came with, where all the others did, just not with screws, and it had connectors just sheared off its motherboard. And with that minor annoyance out of the way, I started testing the Macs. I started with the looks great probably works pile. Surprisingly, this is the pile of MacBooks with the most casualties, as only 1 out of 4 of these MacBooks worked. As you can see, I'm grabbing some spare parts from this 2010 MacBook just to make sure that I'm not going insane and that the casualty rate is actually pretty high. And after all 10 MacBooks were tested, here are the results. That one works perfectly, these 5 worked fine but need repairs, and those 4 are completely dead. And with that, let the repairs begin. So why do you have 2 MacBook out, you may ask? Well, some of these just didn't work, and so I figured I'd take what spare parts do work out of some and put them in others. That way I can get a better conditioned Mac overall, and not have to spend money on new parts. Every time I got a Mac to chime, I put a new battery and SSD in it, just so that I wouldn't have to do it later. And after that, I took another one off the pile and started diagnosing. And yes, on my iPad screen you probably see an iFixit guide on one side and a Scott the Woz episode on another. With all that out of the way, let's enjoy the time lapses, shall we? So with 4 out of 10 MacBooks working, you might wonder, hey, what happened to the other 6? Well, there were some MacBooks that, were just dead. That was 4 of them. And the other 2 that, would have been working, I just didn't have enough spare parts to fix them all. And with the amount of money I already spent on batteries, RAM, and SSDs, I really didn't feel like spending a ton more on new chassis and new screens. So with all that in mind, was this whole endeavor worth it? Well, it depends. If you love fixing things and you want something to do in your free time, then totally. Just keep in mind that you may not make as much money as you think when you do stuff like this, and especially if you're doing it just as a personal project and you're repairing a machine for yourself, don't buy a big lot of these things. You end up with a bunch of trash that not many people want. So I think the overall verdict is, if you need a machine and you don't have a ton of money on hand right now, repairing a machine that is semi-broken, as long as you know what to look out for, seems like a good option. Although if you're trying to make a buck and you buy a lot of these things, there are a lot of things that can go wrong that can screw up your time. So this was originally going to be a 3-part series where the 3rd part would be me giving some advice on actually selling them. I also have a ton of unused footage and voice clips, so if you guys want to see those, then, tell me that too. So with that, I guess, just have a great rest of your day, and thank you for watching.